Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to Life Talks. Well, today we are going to be talking about who is the real you? This is a big question, I think. I've been asking this question of people and of myself, and I think it's something that we've really got to, have a really long, hard think about. So that will be the topic of discussion today. Before we start, though, I'd like to thank our sponsors, Virtual Reality, for providing the equipment for today's event. And for when things are just ever so slightly out of reach, we have Life Aid, 14999 from respectable retailers. Okay, so Harry, what is your thoughts on this topic?
Well, I think that in today's society, it is exceedingly rare to find people that show their true selves to the rest of the world. A lot of them hide their identity, their true beliefs, their true feelings, and only show a mask.
Oh, a mask. I like that
A
word.
persona.
Mask. Persona.
A fake version of it.
A fake version. Back in ancient Greek or Roman times, they used to do plays, in like the amphitheaters or whatever you called them. And to project their voice, they used to wear these masks. And they were called persona for, I think it means for sound. It comes from Latin. And basically, it was the masks that amplified the voice that these actors were wearing. Which is kind of fitting that when you say, you have a persona, you're basically wearing a mask. That's where it comes from. It's the mask that you portray and what you want people to see the world, or the world to see of you. We're kind of genuine fakes in a sense. But under the mask, who is under the mask, Siji? That's what we're trying to get to.
Who is under the mask? I don't know. Who's under your mask? Who's under the mask? I don't know. That's a big question. Who's under the mask? What do you mean by that? What's the question? What's
Well, we all have personas,
right?
And usually when I first met you, I was like, "Hey, he's pretty cool,"
Rude.
But but it was one level of you that I first knew, and then the more I got to know you and we became friends, the more I got to know you. I suppose it's more like layers. The deeper you get to know somebody.
Like
So
Donkey from Shrek.
Donkey? Like Donkey from Shrek.
Onions have many layers.
Onions, yes, and you're just one big onion.
Thank you. So many layers.
I think the big question is, should we be, should people should they be showing their true selves? Like, what is holding people back? Why are they afraid? Why are people afraid to express who they really are to society?
Well, this is a thing, and I think one of the questions we had was, or the comparison, being normal versus being yourself. That was going to be one of the original questions of the talk. And the idea of being normal, like, what is normal? People are so afraid to stand out from the crowd. People are so afraid to be different from the norm in society because they're afraid of exclusion. They're afraid of becoming, I guess, ridiculed. But this is the point, I think. To be normal means that you're mediocre, because to be normal means you're not exceptional. So to be exceptional or to do great things, you have to be exceptional. And by the very definition of being exceptional, you cannot be normal.
That's exactly true. Everybody wants success. Everybody wants to be the next Elon Musk or Bill Gates or whatever. But they don't realize that to be that, you can't be normal.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So what would make an extraordinary person? For me, I think I get on a lot better with people that have some quirks to them. I always find people intriguing, people that have some kind of intriguing aspect about their personality. Maybe they've got passions and they're very passionate. I really like passionate people who have interests and desires and goals and ambition, because that in itself is not quite normal these days. Most people seem to be quite happy just to go from A to B to C and just amble through life, accidentally getting to where they need to be. Whereas I kind of think people who they're very driven, like you two, you know, you can't be normal by that definition. What do you think as a business owner? Do you think that you're striving to be
virtual reality?
Virtual reality, 10th Awakening Temptation. Tune in now. Question?
You're striving for excellence, right? Within yourself?
Yeah.
Or do you just want to be normal? Would you just want to have a normal company?
Well, it's funny, like, because you guys have just said how by being exceptional, in order to be exceptional, in order to be the next Bill Gates, you can't be normal. But for me, I feel like I am normal, and I am being normal. So you may not. So it's funny because what you just said, what you guys just said there is like it's a whole persona thing, you know. For them, like Bill Gates, they're putting out an exceptional. The Bill Gates. I'm not going to call him the Bill Gates. Let's not, you know, monetize Bill Gates. He's already got enough fame. The great people, the greats. So in order for the greats to be themselves, they put out a persona that makes them look exceptional, but to themselves, they're just being normal. So anyway, for myself, now that I'm comparing myself to the greats.
But it's not like being normal according to yourself. The question is, you know, is portraying a persona, a Siji that appears normal to the outside world. It's not about being normal. I mean, me being myself to me would be normal. You know, that's not what the question is. The question is, you know, people portraying a persona that the outside world will perceive normal because they're afraid of what the outside world will perceive of them if they show their true self.
Well, that's a very good point. Just to extend that, I think that we're all actually actors. We're all, to some extent, playing a part. I think it's very difficult to answer the question, who really are you? Who's the real you? You know, religion and spiritualists, they've tried to answer this. You know, but I think when it comes down to it, we're all actors in some way. Because I think a lot of who we are is borrowed from society. You know, our opinions, our beliefs, our customs and traditions. You might not agree with a lot of them. You might grow up and realize, a lot of that is bullshit. But a lot of what we are, we've raised, the way we were raised, the families we've brought up in, how many brothers and sisters we've had, if any, and all that can influence you, and that can be a part of you. So I think to some extent we are acting, but maybe realizing that and trying to find out, okay, so beneath all that, who really are we?
In sociology, what you're describing is called a social actor, because in a social setting you behave in one way, whereas in a non-social setting, or in different social settings, you behave in different ways.
It's called social actor. Well, that makes sense. I mean, I wouldn't go effing and jeffing in my interview, would I? You know, I wouldn't go in and say, all right, how's it going? I've had a fucking shit day today, but I'm glad to be in this interview. You know, I would say that to you guys. But so you do put on a mask depending on the situation.
Yeah. So sometimes a persona is needed. But
you kind of put on, I don't like to say it's a mask. I think it's more of a hat. You put on a hat. So you put on your professional hat. You know, that is a kind of persona, but it's not a mask. You're not faking. You're still you. You know, you're still being you. Like when I'm teaching, you know, I'm still me. I'm very much myself. You know, you have to be authentic. But I don't swear. I like to swear. I don't swear when I'm teaching. I'm very more considerate and careful about, you know, what I say. So, you know, there's people that might not understand what I'm saying because they're a different language speaking person, or I mean, they might actually be offended by what I say. I don't really want to do that when I'm teaching. So I do have to put on this hat. That's a kind of persona, right? Well, you're being real at the same time.
Well, it's quite. I mean, is a persona like a necessary evil that today's society has? I mean, going back to the times where we were in caves, you didn't have this different like scenarios. You didn't have you didn't have job interviews where you had to not swear. You didn't have a job where you had to act differently. You acted yourself all the time. Yeah. And then as society changed and created different events where you would go to, you would have to put the persona you're talking about. So the society has shifted and created that need. So is it a necessary evil? Like, what do you think? Siji? You haven't been doing too much.
Is persona a necessary evil? Well, it's funny that you call it a necessary evil. I would have never called it evil at all, because
Well, I mean, you're restricting. You know, you're restricting your behavior to accommodate what other people would. So you're restricting your swearing or whatever, for example, in the job interview because you want them to perceive you as more professional.
Mhm.
You know, so you want to show a perception of you want a person to create a perception of you based on the way you
but
act
why
at
would
that
that
moment.
be evil though? Why? What's the harm it's causing that makes it evil?
But it's not hard. It's just
I think the difficulty is when, say, you have somebody who's worked a profession their whole lives, you know, and then they define themselves by that profession, and their persona becomes their personality. So, you know, when, like, here's a question. I go, hello, Siji, how you doing? What do you do? You know, this is a normal question you ask people. What do you do? And people go, you know, I'm a business owner, or I'm a teacher. No. What do you do? I didn't ask what your profession was, you know. So a lot of people define who they are by their profession. And I think you can get mixed up by who you are, who the real you is, and what your professional persona is. Would you agree or disagree?
I agree that like we can't. A lot of people don't even know what. I mean, it's hard for them to understand themselves apart from the things that define them, such as uni, job, relationships. You know, things in life. A lot of people are defined and feel that they should be defined by certain things like that, like job, for example. But you know,
Well,
how hard.
here's the thing, Siji, you studied a bit of psychology, right? So
100%.
what effect has our ego on all this? Do we need our ego? Do we need to define ourselves by our job, the relationships we have, our name?
Do we need to define ourselves by our name? Okay, I'm not going to talk from a psychological perspective right now because, you know, someone's going to like pull up a review like, that's bullshit. I'm going to talk my own opinion. So, from my own perspective, I would say whether we need to, I don't know. I wouldn't say we need to do anything, but we have done, and we have done because that's, I guess, how we need to function in society. So in order to function in society, we've had to define ourselves by a name, by a gender, by a job, by our hobbies, and so on and so forth. It's like what Harry said earlier on about when we were cavemen. You know, we didn't have all these different personas because it wasn't necessary. You just go eat and you go home. It's simple. But now in life, right, we have to define ourselves by all these things, and when we're put into different situations, we have to pull a certain persona in order to operate in that situation. So, like you said, with your job interviews, or you know, when you're your students.
But is that good? You know, is that good? Is it good? The fact is it okay for people just to, you know, restrict their personality or their expression, their emotions, just to fit someone else's understanding of what is normal at that situation? You know,
I say balance. Everything is all about balance. It's not. I don't know if it's good or bad, but it's. I think the part, like with me in my job, in my day job, I put on many different personas because for each client that I work with, they all require. For each client I work with, they all require a different persona. I'm not an escort, by the way. They all require a different persona in order to. In order to satisfy their needs.
He's a social worker. Let's just clear that up.
Yeah. So in order to be able to communicate with my clients, I need to put on a different persona that, you know, they feel comfortable with. So yeah, in that scenario, being able to put on a persona, being able to switch is definitely very useful. But then the times when having a persona that isn't such a good thing could be. Example would be, okay, I'm going to go back to the whole gender thing. When you're born with the sex of a female, but internally your gender is a male. This has been assigned to you at birth, and then you've gone through adolescence, childhood, and then at some stage you've realized, you know what, I'm actually not. I'm trying to remember which one I said to begin with.
Female.
I'm actually not female, I'm actually male. So you have now had to change the persona that everyone sees you as, and you also have to change your own mental persona of how you see yourself. So then, at a time like that, that's when the persona that you have is incorrect. In such an event, it causes lots of negative issues.
All right, yeah.
So it's all about balance, you know. When it's in some situations it's good. Like for me and my clients, it's good because of the life I've lived and the experience I've had. It's helped me to be more versatile, being able to switch my persona when I need to. But for somebody who was born in the wrong body, it is not such a it is not such a great thing, and it causes a negative effect. One could say that most people with mental health issues these days is because of having the incorrect socialization, which has affected their persona as they were growing up. And now as they're trying to readjust this, once they've got to a certain age and they're like, oh wait, this is affecting me in this way, this is affecting me in this way, they have to work on it. They have to re-socialize themselves because they had incorrect socialization. So the persona that was put onto them doesn't fit with who they are, so now they don't know how to fix it. It's causing them a shitload of mental health issues, one could say.
So you're saying, I mean, it's okay to change your persona when it's a job, as you put, but what about like meeting new people, meeting friends?
I wouldn't even say that. I wouldn't say it's okay to change your persona job. It's up to you as a person, I think.
Here's the thing with this. I think when you've got I think we've all got quite complex personalities. You know, we're complex people. You know, and I think there's varying levels of complexity among different people. But when you meet somebody, you can sort of, for a lack of a better term in my head right now, you can resonate with certain people who will bring out certain aspects of your own persona a bit more than other parts of your persona. You see.
Not you, the guy. Sorry.
In here, so it might come across that you're acting like a different person with different people, but that's not the case. It's just that person has amplified a particular part of your persona more than the rest of your persona. So it looks like, with Harris, you know, he does a lot of joking around and a lot of practical joking. But with Siji, he does a lot of like philosophizing and all this kind of stuff and the different people. But it's not that I'm different people with both of you. It's just
different people bring out different aspects of you.
Yeah, exactly. Different aspects of your personality. And I think because we're all complex people, we've got complex personalities. And that's why you can meet people that you don't resonate with.
It's actually funny you say that because I tend to be like that. I tend to be different people. Different people bring out different aspects of my personality. So like when I actually have a party and I have everybody in one room, it's like sometimes it's like, wait, who am I supposed to be right now? Because like shit, this person knows me this, that person knows me that person knows me that. I'm like,
well, it's a good point because when I was the captain of the Taekwondo club, and I had to put on this kind of persona of I wanted to be, I felt like I had to care for people and I had to protect people and make sure everybody was
not really caring.
And then so Harris, before we became flatmates, it's like, oh, Harris only knows me as this one persona. And I was like, oh, he's gonna find out that I'm a bit crazier than what he saw me as. But it worked out, right? Yeah, because you amplified that part of my persona, But I think the question is, persona aside, I think it's a really important mission in anybody's life to find out who they really are. So a persona aside, this could be dreams, desires, inhibitions, basically to know yourself. You've all leaned in now. That's to know who you are on like a fundamental level and to own it and to not and to just embrace who you are. I think that's part of what being the real you is about, right?
Agreed. Sorry. Who are you? Who are you? Who are you?
for our viewers, if you have any questions or if you have anything you want to add, please leave a comment and we'll get to it right away.
Michael, if people get offended for you being you just need to find the right people.
I think. So continuing on James's idea, though, he's saying that we gotta accept ourselves for who we are.
Yep, that's it.
That's an important part of.
I'm playing the next song.
And that's an important part of knowing who we are. We have to accept who we truly are inside. We have to be okay that, I am this person and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Oh, actually.
For sure.
I've got...
Someone have a question.
We'll read that one. 1 second. I've got... So I was talking to a friend, Vlad. I'm not sure if he's listening today. And we were saying how we opened up to each other and we were saying how we're questioning the everything, right? We're questioning everything. And
Vlad, you and Vlad.
Yeah, we're questioning everything, and we came up to, and we discussed the fact that perception is everything, but the way we perceive the world is everything. So, at the same time, everything is important. At the same time, everything is not important.
Yeah.
But I said, having this philosophy is stupid, because if you had this philosophy and you didn't define stuff, you wouldn't know who you are. So you needed morals in order to define yourself and to ground yourself by. Mm-hmm. And then his response was, no, you don't. You just, just go with the flow. You just enjoy the moment, and you just, you navigate with your emotions. And then the way this made sense in my head was, there's a blank canvas and there's paint, and your emotions are the paint, and depending on which color you pick is what emotion you're having on the board. And with life, you just pick the next color and just pick the next color. But when you have molds in your guidelines, like, okay, I can use red, I can use yellow, and I can use green, or I can use blue and whatever the main colors. But with molds, you have to pick which color you're going to use, and that's the one you use to define your life. Without molds, you can pick any color on the palette and just go with the flow. But yeah.
We adding my own to the conversation.
Hey. Hey. But
you're live.
You're live.
But yeah, to answer the question, the whole point was you don't have to define yourself. Sometimes it's okay to just go with the flow, to just live in the moment, and to change your persona as many times as you like.
Yeah.
Right, do you want to read this question, James? Because we have 2 questions here.
All right. So the first one is from Judy.
Hold there, okay.
I don't know if it's a question. I think it's just a statement.
6 minutes.
Tune in
we are made up of lots of different sides of personality, depending on where we are and what we are doing, and who we are with. Parent, friend, child, profession. All these different sides together make us who we are. We adapt to situations. This is not a bad thing. It is not false. I like Judith's thinking. She's kind of saying what I was talking about. We do have a question, I think, from Patrick Ferguson. If someone goes into a coma and is in a vegetable state, are they still them? Well,
ooh, good question.
So if somebody's in a coma and they go into a vegetative state, are they still them?
We're answering that from the question of persona.
But I mean, who are you looking at? I mean, someone is in a vegetative state. You're asking the question, are they really them? So what? Is their body really them? Is their mind really them? Like, the question has to be defined.
Well, since we're talking about persona, we're looking at it from a persona's perspective. And if you're looking at a body in a bed, you're thinking, does this body in the bed remind me of the fun-loving or the super sarcastic or the dour motherfucker that this person used to be? So I guess it depends.
You've heard of people being in a coma and they wake up and they have different personalities, right? Somebody woke up, I'm pretty sure somebody went into a coma and he actually had a blood transplant. and he woke up and he complained that because he was a lumberjack, and because he woke up and he had the blood transplant of some housewife with the same blood type as him, he woke up and he didn't want to chop trees anymore. He wanted to do knitting, and he became really attracted to like just knitting all day. And he tried to sue the hospital for.
Well, they have to find lumberjack blood to give him.
I don't know. I heard that could be total bullshit. But I did hear that somewhere.
I mean, okay, you talking about personality stuff. You know, if someone is in a coma, I mean, we can compare that to. I mean, when they're in a coma and when a person is sleeping, I mean, we can compare those two. You know, in both cases, they're unresponsive. Mm-hmm. In both cases, you know, you see someone sleeping, you see someone in a coma. If you don't wake them up, they're not gonna respond to you. They're not gonna behave anything to you. So they don't have the personality for them to express to you at that moment.
But yes, I guess. But you're considering their personality to be the person inside. Their physical appearance could be a personality. It's like looking at a drag queen. Like they're looking at a drag queen. You know, they put on the makeup and do all this crap. And apologies. I mean, they put on the. You guys know what the fuck Anyway, they put on the makeup and do all this stuff, and that is them putting on a personality. They now become someone else.
Okay.
So, like, say you knew this drag queen, and then this was them all the time, blah blah. You always laughed at them. You only see them on drag queen. They take all this stuff, you know, and now they're a guy, and they're in a coma. That would be a total different person you're looking at now. You're like, that's not the person I know, because you know they look totally different.
How do you know that wasn't the person they already were that they were hiding for years?
Oh no, it probably is, but I'm just saying, just looking at the body, you're seeing someone totally different.
Are we talking like the real you? Is it our personas? We've talked a lot about persona and saying, is the real you? Is it our personas? You know, and I think our persona is just one level of who we are. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you believe in any kind of other stuff, whether you have a soul or whatnot or anything like that, or if there's God or anything like this. Who knows what we really are? You know, the Taoists believe that we're just part of the ultimate way of the universe, and the Hindus believe we're part of some kind of Shiva energy. You know, the Christians all believe that we're part of God. There's all religions, you know, whether you believe it or not, they don't think that what we are is just this physical body, the personas. They think we're something deeper than that. So
if that deeper thing exists, you know, someone in a coma might still have that. Then.
Still, if from that angle, that lens, they're still them.
Even if they're brain dead. Yeah.
So I believe that our body, and this is just purely based on my own belief, that it's just a vehicle. We've just sort of like inherited this vehicle for a short time to experience life with. I don't know who we are or what we are, but I wouldn't consider who I really am. James, you know, teacher, student, you know, and all the other stuff that I consider me. You know? But then again, you know, that's based on nothing but my belief. You know?
So, 20 seconds. Who are you? Who is the real you?
From one angle, I believe I'm just a point of consciousness experiencing life as James Short, who is, you know, who's got this persona and all these experiences that have caused me to be, you know, who I am right now.
Okay. Alice, who is the real you?
Well,
15 seconds, go.
Come and meet me and you'll probably find out. It's a hard. I think it's impossible to answer that question in 15 seconds to show all the angles of my persona.
Okay, how would you define the real you?
How would I define the real me? Well, I'll define the real me as a person who wants to show what I truly feel and what I truly think in any case, whatever the outcome, and that's truth.
I like that. I think that should be the takeaway. Before you get to who you really are, I think that should be the takeaway. Is that whoever you are, you know, love who you are and embrace it, and just be that person. Don't try and be like everybody else, and don't try and hide yourself. But yeah, your turn.
My turn. Who is the real me? Basically what you guys just said. I am flexible and...
What, physically?
Oh yeah. I'm flexible and I go with the flow. You know, one day I can be this person, the next day I can be the next. I try not to. I have my morals and rules that I go by because that's how I needed to function. Because sometimes morals and rules are important. But if I see something and understand something that questions my logic and my rationale, then I will adapt to it. One thing that I definitely don't like about people is people who are stubborn, and if something starts questioning their rationale, they just stick to it, even if it doesn't make sense. I don't like that.
Are any of you stubborn?
Yeah. So yeah, James, you want to end us?
Yeah. Is that time already?
Yeah.
My goodness, it's gone by fast, hasn't it?
Did you have a...
So to recap, we've talked about who the real you is. I think we came to a consensus that our personas are I think one level of who we are, and I think finding out who you are on another deeper level and embracing that and making that your persona
and loving yourself,
and
accepting yourself,
accepting
and
yourself,
showing
embracing
that true personality to the
outside
world.
And I think that's what we're trying all to aspire to, and inspire other people to be like that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, it's been a nice talk.